and welcome back to Retired Happy. This is your Retired Happy friend in Mississippi, and I'm Carolyn, so welcome back. I'm so glad you came back to join us. And on our channel, we talk about things that we do in our retirement that give us joy, happiness, peace, enjoyment that we look forward to doing. So today, I'm going to show you how to make navy bean soup in the crock pot, and it is absolutely delicious. Great for the cool weather that we have coming up. It's a complete meal in a crock pot. It has the navy beans, carrots, onions, celery, rotel tomatoes, and I put ham in it. So it is a complete meal. And when I fixed it, I used the bread that I showed you in the last video. I'm using the loaf of bread. In fact, I've already used it all up. I've got to make more bread now. But I used the loaf bread and sliced it, made cheese toast with it, and put that with my navy bean soup. So it's really good. And the other recipe I'm going to show you today is quick, easy, and it's cabbage casserole. And if you've never had cabbage casserole, I hope you'll try this. It's right up there with green bean casserole as being a good fall casserole, and this will be perfect for fall coming in for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. Every time we have a potluck dinner in our community, somebody always brings cabbage casserole, and it's all gone. So those are the two things that we'll be doing today. Now I'll also give you a little sneak preview of things I have that I've got that we're going to make Christmas projects with, and I'll give you a little peek at everything is just spread out on my kitchen table right now. But I have it ready, and probably next week I'll start putting one or two of those things together. As you see behind me, I have redecorated, and we are getting ready for Christmas. It's not far off. And all of us who do a lot of crafts and handwork things for Christmas, we have to start ahead of time. So Betty Bear has her little Christmas dress on. She has, let's say, right here is her little wrap. When it gets really cold, she puts on her little Christmas wrap. The stockings are up, Christmas granny squares. This is the quilted hot pad for Christmas, the teddy bears, and the Christmas in Maggie's Neighborhood book. This is the Christmas book of Maggie, and it starts out, it tells the whole story of Maggie and Carrie before Christmas. And it starts out, yippee skippy, it's 7 days till Christmas, and it goes all the way through to Christmas Day. They get their Christmas tree, and it's interactive where Maggie tells what she and Carrie are doing, and then it says, what are you doing in your house? And I made it all the way through and didn't put Santa Claus in it, and that was an important thing to me. So Carrie is getting out the nativity scene, and she's telling Maggie who Mary and Joseph and the Magi are. And they get their gifts out. It's 4 days to Christmas, and they're getting all their Christmas decorations. And then Maggie is helping Kate and Kyle make Christmas cookies and candies to take to their neighbors. So then it was yippee skippy. It was the day before Christmas, and Maggie's helping Carrie cook the Christmas dinner. And then it was Christmas Eve. Yippee skippy, it's Christmas Eve, and Maggie and Carrie and Kate and Kyle are going to the Christmas Eve service at church. And then Christmas Day, Maggie gets a Christmas bone for Christmas. And then at the very last, it says, Carrie gave all the grown-ups a candle. They turned off the lights, and we all sang Happy Birthday, Jesus. Maggie ran to the piano to get the songbook, and we sang carols. Thank you, God, that you gave us your son, Jesus, at Christmas. It was the best gift of all. So that's Maggie's Christmas in Maggie's Neighborhood. Now that is on my Etsy shop, and also this week, it's been a very busy week. So also this week, I was able to get the quilted hearts, the Christmas design quilted hearts up. So I have a new cover for Christmas, and it has Merry Christmas on it and Christmas trees at the bottom. So these are the new Christmas designs on the quilted hearts. And they are all Christmas design fabric, Christmas embellishments. And I have 8 of those on my Etsy shop. So they're all a little bit different, and there's no way I could duplicate them. So anytime the quilted hearts are posted, they're all unique, one of a kind, and none of them are ever the same. But those are the quilted heart and the Christmas design on the cover. I was also able to get my watercolor Christmas cards up, so I have 5 designs on the watercolor Christmas cards. So these are all, you can see with the light shining on it, each one of them has a little bit of glitter and sparkle for the holiday. And on the back it has just a little sample of the front of the card. So these were all fun to do. This is the candles and the mistletoe and the joy snowman. So those are the designs. Those are all up on the Etsy shop. So it's been busy. We are getting ready to get started on some fun projects and some fun activities. Now, some of you had asked me about recipes in the Cooking with Maggie cookbook that would be good for Thanksgiving. So I looked through it and I wrote down, I've got a long list, and all of these would be great for your Thanksgiving dinner that you can use out of the Cooking with Maggie book. The broccoli slaw, the chicken salad, the egg salad, the melon salad would be wonderful, the tuna pasta salad, the snowball salad. Check that one out. That one's really cute. Now, a lot of times I will kind of interject this. Back a long time ago when my children had gotten grown and they had so many places to go on Christmas, they would come to my house on Christmas Day night. They went to church on Christmas Eve. They went to their in-laws and relatives' house on Christmas Day lunch. So they came to my house Christmas Day night. So we started having lasagna at first. And because everybody was sick and tired of holiday food and turkey and dressing and ham. So for a while we had lasagna at night. Then it got to where we made chili, and that was what, last time we had a big get-together, that was what we had every time. I had 3 big crock pots of chili and all the fixings, the cheese, the onion, the jalapeno peppers, corn chips. So if you don't have a traditional turkey and dressing, then a lot of these would be really good. The tuna pasta salad, the jambalaya with rice pudding, the red beans and rice with the rice pudding if you want something kind of southern and coastal, the pot roast, the spaghetti with meat sauce, the red potato salad, steamed broccoli, the sweet potato casseroles in there, salsa dip, avocado dip, the banana pudding, the applesauce cake, the cherry crisp, the pound cake, the lazy man cobbler, the snowball cookies, the impossible pie, oatmeal raisin cookies, red, white, and blue cookies. You could leave the blue out if you wanted to and just use red and put red and green M&Ms in instead of the blueberries. Peanut butter chocolate chip and the pumpkin bread. And I am going to make the apple cake and the pumpkin bread probably next time. You'll probably see that Thursday, I think. But while we're on food, next time I'll make a suggestion of recipes for Thanksgiving that you can use on things that we've already featured on this channel, on Retired Happy channel. So I'll have because we've got a lot of good bread, good casseroles that we've done. Now I'll put one more thing in while we're talking about food. At our church, we're making a blessing bag. And in the blessing bag, we're putting 1 can of corn, 1 can of green beans, 1 large can of chicken, packet of mashed potatoes, and a pack of dressing, seasoned dressing, and a can opener, because they have to have a can opener. We have already put about 50 of the bags in our blessing box, and they're all gone. And we have to add a can opener because a lot of the people who are getting these blessing bags don't have a can opener, and unless it has a pop top, they can't open the can to cook and fix. So that's what we're putting in. So I was curious when I was getting my supplies on how the food tastes. So I'll tell you, this has come a long way. Now I'll be fixing mine from scratch for reasons that I've already told you why I fix my own food. One is so it doesn't have the additives, one so it doesn't have the salt in it, and the other is I just like to cook. So I tried, these are the mashed potatoes that we're putting in the bag. This one's empty. I fixed it at lunch today to try it. And these were on sale. Kroger had them on sale. If you buy 5 or more, they were 99 cents a pack. And it was good. It's not bad at all. Mashed potatoes has come a long way since my early married days. So we're putting those in. And this was easily enough for 4 to 5 people. If you only had children, it'd probably be 6. And I tried this is the cornbread stuffing mix. And these were 10 for 10, so it was $1 for the stuffing. It's not bad at all. And I didn't have turkey today, so I had one of my little pork loins. So I'll show you a picture of my finished lunch today with the cabbage casserole, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and my little pork tenderloin. And I put cranberry sauce with it because I love cranberry sauce and dressing. But if you want it, this is more like stuffing. It's a little bit drier. Now, if you want it more like what we in the South call dressing in a pan, in a casserole, all you have to do is add more water or more chicken broth to this, and it will make a pan of dressing. So that's what we're putting in our blessing box. And it's a good meal, and especially people who are down on their luck or in these trying financial economic times, it's a good meal for a couple or for a family who might not have a good meal otherwise. So anyway, we have to think about others in our neighborhood who are not as well off as some of us are, because except the Lord will, I could be in the same situation in the blink of an eye. So let's don't take things for granted. And that brings us to the good word for today. And our pastor is still in James. We finished up James today, James chapter 5. And this is the last chapter. So it's a little bit long, but I'd love for you to go back and just read for yourself that whole chapter of James. The title of his sermon, his message today was Waiting and Praying. But in the first part of it, it talks about patience. So be patient and waiting, then praying. Always rejoice, be praying, and then thankful. So there's so much in that chapter, but those are the highlights. Always rejoice, always pray, always be thankful. So that's the good word for today. Now I will show you the finished meals on both of those recipes, and I'm also going to show you the little babies. I had 2 of the little dolls, little comfy baby bags that we call them, that I had ready to go in the blessing box today, that has the Bible, the little baby, Nutri-Grain bar, a little baby bottle, and then a little tract for the child that says, most of all, Jesus loves you. So I'll show you that, and then I'll show you the picture of the projects that are upcoming. So I hope you enjoy this. Getting ready for Thanksgiving, getting ready for Christmas, and even if we have problems going on in our life, there's always something to be thankful for. There's always somebody who's worse off than you are. And all we have to do is just look around at the world and be thankful for what we have and where we are in this life. So thank you for joining. Share your smile with everyone you meet, because everybody has something that's going on in their life today. So this is a picture of the collection of things I have for the Christmas projects. So we'll see what we can come up with and how we can use all of these different items to make some Christmas decorations. So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together and how creative we can be. So y'all stay tuned. There may be one project a week. The temperatures in Mississippi are going to be cold today and tonight and all day tomorrow. So it's going to be probably 26, they're saying, tonight. We may break a record and get to 25. So I'm cooking in my crock pot, and these are going to be beans and ham. So these, I'm putting it on to soak right now. And this is the pack of navy beans. I'm only fixing half a pack. So this, what I'm cooking, and the recipe and the directions are for half a pound of navy beans. So I've already poured them into my crock pot. I've looked through them, sorted through, looked to see if there were any bad ones that I didn't want in my cooked product. And I did find a few that I took out that I didn't think looked right. So now all I'm going to do is run some water over it, rinse them, pour that water off, then put water where the beans are completely covered, and then I'm going to just put them in my crock pot base, set them. I'm not going to turn it on tonight, but I'll put my crock pot in the base and just let it sit there overnight and let the beans soak. So in the morning when I get up, I'll turn it on low, get them started to cooking, and then we'll go from there. Found one more to take out that I didn't want in my finished beans. So I'm just rinsing the beans, see if there's any debris, anything that needs to come out. Now I'm going to just drain that water off, pour that down the drain, and fill it back up. I want to cover the beans maybe an inch or two because these are dry beans, and the dry beans are going to absorb and soak up a lot of the water. So I have about an inch, inch and a half above the level of the beans. So that's going to go in my crock pot base. Put the lid on it, and that's all I have to do tonight. So it's going to sit there. It's going to start soaking and starting to get tender, and then I'll check on it in the morning when I get up. And we'll probably have the heater on. It's going to be cold tonight. So now it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to go ahead and plug the crock pot in and turn it on high. The beans have been soaking overnight, and they are starting to get soft. So now it's time to turn the crock pot on and start the cooking. I'll come back in about an hour or maybe 2 hours, and I'll go ahead and add the chopped celery, chopped onion, and carrots. Now the navy beans have been in the crock pot on high for an hour. So they are starting to get soft. And it's time now to go ahead and add the other chopped vegetables. So this is what the beans are looking like now. So this will be an all-day cooking process. And that's the good thing about having the crock pot going in fall weather. So now we're going to go ahead and chop up. The carrots take the longest to cook, so I'm going to go ahead and chop up my carrots. These are baby carrots that I get. And I get those to use for so many different things. And I mostly get them because they're good for Maisie, and I can cut them up in small pieces. So I'm going to chop up a handful of the little small baby carrots. Put those in, let those start cooking, and then I'll chop the celery. I'm going to start with 1 rib of celery because this is a half pound of beans. It's not a full bag. and a full bag is 1 pound. So I'm going to start with the 1 stalk of celery, and I think that will probably be enough. I want the carrots in small pieces because they'll cook faster if they're small and not big chunks. Now that looks like enough. That was about 6 to 10 little small baby carrots. Now we want 1/2 onion, and I want the onion also small chopped, but it doesn't have to be quite as small as the carrots were. The onion cooks really quickly. So 1/2 onion. And I use the yellow sweet onions. I don't use the white ones, but whichever onions you like best, whatever you have in your kitchen. Next comes the celery. I'm going to cut the ends off. This is my little bowl that I keep all of my vegetable trimmings in, and that will go out in my backyard in my little compost pile, which y'all have seen my garden I keep talking about, which is really just a little part of my flower bed. So I'm going to slice the celery. Now I do not string my celery, and the reason being, when I'm cutting across the celery in little short pieces like this, there is no need to string it. When you string, you take off so much of the meat of the celery. So I'd rather leave the strings on there, let them cook. You will never know they're there once your celery is cooked and it's tender. And I'll put this in. I might need 1 more rib of celery. We'll see how this looks when it gets in the pan. Okay, let's take a look at the soup now. And I think that 1 stalk of celery will be plenty. So I don't think I'm going to add any more celery. So now the lid will go on, and it will cook another hour before I go in and add the ham steak. I decided to go ahead and add 1 more half rib of celery, just to give it a little bit more color and a little bit more of the celery flavor. The celery really does have a good flavor. It adds good flavor to any of your vegetable soups. So this is what it's looking like now. Going to stir it all up. It's still cooking on high. Put the lid on it and let it alone and just let it cook. The beans have cooked for another hour now, so I'm going to stir the beans around. Just get it kind of all mixed up in the crock pot. And now it's time to add the ham. Now this is one of the ham steaks I got at the grocery store. It says it's 97% fat-free, and I always look at how much sodium all of the things I buy at the grocery store. So this is, it's very thick. I thought it was 2 steaks, but it is just 1 steak. So I may not put all of that in there, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the ham up into cubes, and I'm going to add the ham in small cubes. These will be bite-sized pieces, so I want them to be like small bite, not big bite. And that way it will go farther, and every time I get a spoonful of the beans, I'll get a bite of the ham. And I think I will go ahead, and that doesn't look like much, so I'll go ahead and add this whole ham steak. Now, in addition to the ham steak, I'm going to add chicken broth. And I have the chicken broth I got at Costco. This is the Kirkland brand organic chicken stock. So I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken stock and let it cook for another hour, and then I'll come back and start adding my seasoning. I'm not going to add salt to it because the ham has salt, and I'm going to put some of the garlic pepper salt that I got that I have in my spice drawer, and that has plenty of salt because I do have to watch how much salt I eat. So chicken stock is going in now, and we're going to put approximately 1 cup chicken stock cover that. Anything you have in your pantry or what you normally use, if you normally use the canned chicken broth, I like this one because I can put the lid on it and store it back in my refrigerator. And I know with Thanksgiving coming up, I'll be making dressing, gravy, and using the chicken stock. So I'll put the cap back on it, put it in my refrigerator, and it's sealed for another use. So the lid goes back on, and I will go on about all of my business, things I need to do, while the beans cook. That's the good thing about the crock pot over my Dutch oven. I don't have to stir it constantly, and it's not going to stick. It can cook while I do whatever I need to do. I can even go to the grocery store if I need to and let it just keep cooking. Now the beans have been cooking for another hour, and it is now 11:30. So they still are not soft enough or ready to eat. So it looks like they'll probably be ready around approximately 3 o'clock this afternoon. So now I'm going to go ahead and I want to add some tomatoes, so I'm going to use the small can of Rotel because this is only 10 ounces and it's not as big as my can of canned tomatoes. So I'm going to add the Rotel. And add the seasonings. This is the garlic and pepper. This does have salt in it, so I'm not going to add any additional salt. This is my salt. So add that. When it gets a little bit farther along, I'll start tasting it and see if it needs more salt. Now this is the garlic powder, so I'm going to add garlic powder. And I'm going to add pepper and let that start cooking and let the seasonings cook into the beans and the vegetables. So I like a lot of pepper in it, so I'm going to add that. Now isn't that looking pretty? That's going to look really pretty on my plate when it's time to eat. And I'm going to fix rice. I'm going to put the beans over rice when I'm ready to eat, because that will make a complex carbohydrate with the beans and the rice. And the complex carbohydrate has a lot more B vitamins and a lot more nutrition for us. So as you see, when I'm cooking a soup or a stew, I like to put as many vegetables as I can in it for added nutrition. So far we have the dry navy beans, onion, the celery, the carrots, tomatoes, the chicken broth, and the tomatoes. So that's a lot of ingredients. So we're going to put the lid back on it. It's still cooking on high. I haven't turned it down yet, so I'm going to leave it for another hour and come back and check it. It's now 3:30, so the beans have been on cooking since 8:30 this morning, which is 7 hours. So I'm going to let you look at them. I'm going to turn them down to warm and leave them there until it's time for me to eat my supper. And for my bread, I usually would put cornbread with this, but I've just made bread yesterday, so I'm going to have some of my bread to go with it. I'm going to slice it and put it in my toaster oven. I ate a sandwich off this at lunch today, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and this bread is so good. And it was so easy. You saw how easy it was to make. I got 18 rolls and 1 loaf. So I'm going to slice this, put it in the toaster oven, and eat it with the beans. So now you can see inside the crock pot and how pretty this soup is. It's so colorful. It's still kind of juicy, has a lot of liquid in it, and I'm not going to mash the beans up yet. But when I get ready to eat it, I will come and mash the beans up just a little bit. Everything is done. The beans are very tender, so I'll take my potato masher and just mash a little bit. But tomorrow this soup will be a lot thicker than it is today, so I'm not going to mash too much, just some. But it's turned down on warm, and it's going to stay in my crock pot now until it's time to eat supper. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas, so now it's time to start thinking about our side dishes and what we're going to prepare. So today I'm going to show the cabbage casserole. This is a wonderful side dish in your Thanksgiving meals. So the cabbage casserole is going to call for 1 head of cabbage. I'm going to cut it into 1-inch small pieces, onion, some cheese, and I have the seasoned salt and the salt-free seasoning. So I'm going to put a little bit of tallow in my skillet and go ahead and get the tallow to melt and then put the cabbage pieces in the skillet. So I have the cabbage washed. I cut off the end of the stalk and cut out the core because we don't want the core in our casserole. So now I'm just cutting it into 1-inch pieces and I'm going to put it in my skillet with the tallow and let it steam and get soft and tender. Then I'll add the onion in with it so the onion can be steaming at the same time the cabbage is. And I think a whole head of cabbage will fit in my skillet without any problem. Now, every time we have a social here in our community, somebody always brings cabbage casserole, and it always is a favorite. So this is a good, you might not think cabbage casserole is good if you haven't had it before, but just try it and it really is a good. Now when I buy my cabbage, I always look for a small cabbage because I don't like to get big cabbages unless I'm planning on several meals, like slaw, steamed cabbage, cabbage casserole, something where I know I'm going to be using a lot of cabbage. So if you get a big head of cabbage, half a cabbage may be enough for this casserole. And I do like to cut the stalks out of the back of the cabbage leaf. So when I can, I go ahead and cut that out and leave the good tender cabbage leaves. Okay, that's the last of the cabbage. So we're going to put this in the skillet. I'm turning the burner on so it can go ahead and start heating. In the meantime, I'm going to chop. This is about 1/4 of an onion. And I'm not making it real, I'm not putting a lot of onion in it, just enough to give it some flavor, because I do like onion in my vegetable casseroles. And now I'm going to put the lid on it and let this start just steaming. It's about 1/2 cup chopped onion. I'm going to start the heat on high, but as it gets warm, I'm going to turn the heat down to medium. Now I've turned the heat on medium under my cabbage, and I did add a 1/4 cup water to it just to help it steam, because you don't want it to brown. You can see in the pan some of mine did get a little bit brown, but I don't want it all brown. I don't want it fried. I just want it to steam and get real tender. So it's on medium heat, and it's now been steaming for about 5 minutes. And I think I'm going to let it go maybe about 5 more minutes so it will be real tender before I start adding the cheese to it to get it ready to bake. Now I'm ready to start adding my seasoning and my cheese. I'm going to give it a really good stir. Turn the heat down a little bit because it's browning a little bit more than I want it to. I just want it to steam and not fry and brown. Now I'm adding the garlic pepper seasoning salt, and I want about a teaspoon of that. I also have, this is salt-free seasoning supreme, so I'm going to add some of that to it, probably about a teaspoon. And now I'm using the cheddar cheese. You can use medium cheddar cheese or sharp cheddar cheese. You can use Velveeta, whichever cheese you happen to have. If you have a white cheese, I'm going to cover it, turn the heat off, and let the cheese melt. Put the lid back on it, and now I'm going to prepare my Ritz cracker topping to go on it, and we're getting ready to put this in the oven so it can bake. The cabbage will continue to cook while it's in the oven baking. Cover it with the lid and let it sit there until the cheese melts. In the meantime, I have 1 stick unsalted butter. I'm going to put that in the microwave, let it melt. 1 sleeve of the Ritz crackers I'm going to crush. And these are really easy to crush in the package. So I don't like to get my food processor out unless I have to. But on something like crushing the crackers, I can do that on the counter without having to get my food processor out. So as long as they're all crushed into small little crumbs, we are good. I'm going to add a tablespoon of milk and stir the cheese. The cheese is soft, but I need to get the cheese all mixed in with the cabbage and get the seasoning all mixed up with the cabbage and get it ready to put in my serving dishes. Now I'm going to put half of it in a small casserole for me for right now, and then I'm going to put half of it in one of those little casserole pans that I got so that I can have one in the freezer. So I have 1 to use and 1 to share. The butter is melted, so now it's time to go ahead and put the Ritz crackers in with the butter. I have a sleeve of the crushed crackers. This makes such a good topping. It just finishes off the casserole. Let me know if you use Ritz cracker topping in the area where you live, or is this just a southern thing that we do? But we love Ritz crackers on top of our casseroles. It really is the finishing touch. 2 casseroles, 1 for me, 1 to share. So now I'll put half of the cabbage in one and half of it in the other. Doesn't that look good? And it smells so good in my kitchen. It just smells like the holidays, just smells like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And everybody's going to enjoy having this casserole on the table. I have my oven preheated to 350, and we will put it in the oven, and I'll check it after 15 minutes and see if it's crusty and bubbling. Since my casseroles are not big, if it were a 9 by 13 pan, it would take longer for it to bake. But since these are both small casseroles, I don't think it will take the full 30 minutes. This is looking good, and it's going to be so good on the table. Now it's ready to go in the oven, 350, and we'll check it back in 15 minutes. My small casserole baked for 20 minutes, and it is bubbling, and oh, it's so good. So I'm going to spoon it out and get ready to eat some. And this casserole goes right along with the green bean casserole that has been so famous for all these years. But the cabbage casserole is right along up there with that. So give this a try. If you have Velveeta, use your Velveeta for the cheese in it. And if you don't, use your cheddar that you have and add a little milk to it. So here we go. That's the wonderful cabbage casserole.